Welcome guys and girls to the Indomitus box unboxing. So Warhammer 40K Indomitus. So this is the new box for 9th edition. So it's Necrons and Space Marines. And a huge thank you to JK Games in Plymouth in the UK for putting one aside so I can spend my hard-earned cash on these lovely models. So it's a hell of a box to start with. It's about 1.5 foot long and it's got quite a lot of depth to it, just the way we like it. The artwork on this is fantastic. I really like it, and I'm hoping possibly there's a poster inside or something of this artwork because it's brilliant. Now I've taken the shinies off. Oh god, there's some weight to this, so you don't see the reflection of my ugly mug in this video. So, contents of the box, everything you need to play, Space Marines and Necrons. For 2 or more players, playtime approximately 1 to 3 hours per session. Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry. With my decision making skills, that never happens. So, and this box includes 61 Citadel Miniatures, which I'm sure you're all very aware of already. But on the Space Marine side, we have a captain, a lieutenant, a chaplain, a judicar, a black guard ancient, 10 assault intercessors, 3 blade guard veterans, 3 outriders, and 3 eradicators. Man, these are looking wicked. I love the look of these guys already. Obviously I am a Space Marine player, as you probably know by now, through my videos and terrain making and painting and whatnot. And I can't wait. I've always loved bikes for Marines, but I never thought bikes really did a lot. They just look cool, which is totally fine. And obviously, being a Blood Angels player, I like a little bit of the assaulty stuff, so that is going to be wicked. I do like the look of the new chaplain. I think he's boss. And the guys with the shields, very cool. Initially, I would have thought possibly a bit Black Templars, not very Blood Angels, but it's wicked. I mean, the main guy up there, the one with the corpse on the actual shield itself, is brilliant. Love it. Now, never played Necrons myself, but I know Ant, who's on our channel, does a lot of battle reports, loves a bit of Necrons. So, what have you got in the way in the Necrons? Well, as you can see there, you have 1 Overlord, the Royal Warden, Plasmancer, Scorptech Lord, 20 Necron Warriors, 2 Crypto Thralls, 3 Scorptech Destroyers, Canotech Plasmacide, and Canotech Reanimator, and 6 Canotech Scarab Swarms. So I'm probably mispronouncing that, so please forgive me. I've never played Necrons. I have no idea what I'm talking about, apart from the fact that I think they look wicked. See, Necrons before, they're okay, you know, a lot of people paint them purely silver, and with the power weapons like the green blades and stuff, they do kind of catch your eye, but didn't normally interest me. But now, looking at things like the big Stalker there, the big Walker, looks very War of the Worlds. I love that look. But I hear Necrons now, not that I thought they were bad before, but I hear they're going to be amazingly good. So, I will open the box and we'll go through the contents. Let go. Right, so, ooh, that's nice. Quite a thick cardstock here. Oh, Blood Angels. Yes, that looks wicked. Very grimdark, especially with Scoffcus there. I think it feels a bit more grimdark in this box. The last box that came out in 8th edition with Chaos, I was more interested in the Chaos side possibly than the Space Marine side. There was very stealthy feel to it. Same picture in front and back, just with a barcode on. Whereas this time around feels a bit more grimdark. So straight away, look at all the sprues. That is a lot of plastic. Look how deep it is with all that plastic. So, loving the bikes straight off the bat. It's the first time I've actually held in my hands and it's not a completely different bike. There is nods to the original bikes. You know, you've got the panel like that that's very, very similar. The wheels probably about the same size, but it seems a bit lower down this time. Before, it seems a bit more like they could go off-road. This time around, they look very low to the ground, so you can imagine them racing through a city. Now, I don't know if the suspension in the fluff will adjust, so they can change their ride height, but that looks wicked. The exhaust don't look too dissimilar before. Yeah, it's a good nod to the original, but Primarisified. That looks wicked. Really looking forward to these. I'll probably pick up another lot at some stage just of the bikes, because I had about 30 bikes previously, never really played them. Just more of a painter and collector sometimes, because it didn't really do a lot on the table. It's basically more wounds for the multi-melter, I felt. But correct me if I'm wrong. You tell me what you thought of them. But no, typical Primaris, which isn't a bad thing. I love painting Primaris. So many more angles, especially around like the hip area like that, than you had on the original Astartes. And it just, you know, you can practice your edge highlights a bit better. And it's not just the size. If they're the same size as the regular Marines, I would still love them. So this is a guy with a shield. That's going to be wicked, putting that little corpse on that shield, if you can see that. Awesome. So I won't get into it too much, because I could be here all day just looking at the miniatures, but that's the first Necron there that I can see. Some kind of lord, one would imagine. Pretty big blade. More of those hoofing great blades. Wicked. This time around there seems to be a few more legs. I do like the bio-mechanical arms, things like that. Like they lose a limb and they get that kind of stuff. See, I was quite tempted to pick up Iron Hands conversion kits purely because of that. But they are looking super fine. GW, as always, Games Workshop have done an amazing job. Look at all the details there. So far I don't notice any green plastic rods like the original Necron Warriors. You can see here that their weapons probably just painted green. And they have released a new green paint, which looks phenomenal for these weapons. Yeah, so there's no green rods like you used to. I've seen a lot of people with orange rods and stuff like that, but traditionally they came with green rods. But yeah, you can paint them up as much as you want with fluorescent colours, or just paint them as a basic weapon, black, silver, whatever. But I really do like it when you have a nice dark weapon and a glowing core, or if it's a power blade or something. So these are the new melters. They look pretty boss. So plasma seemed to feature quite heavily before with Hellblasters and things like that, rather than the original. So it's the same picture as before, so slightly bigger poster, same picture front and back. Oh, what have we got here? I've got no nails, people, no nails. Right. Indomitus, a new novel. That's a bit of advertising for the new book. So transfer sheets, well, you can imagine what I'm going to be using. It's going to be the Blood Angels section. No doubt I'll cut the rest off and give a couple to like the 2Ps or somebody. So I know Dan likes his Ultramarines, Ben likes his Space Wolves, and our friend Marcus likes Dark Angels. So it's nice to share, isn't it? The Edge of Silence. Okay, so the Edge of Silence. This looks very much like fluff for the new campaigns, but the Silent Kingdom, the Pariah Crusade. So before it was very much the Chaos threat. Now, you know, Necrons have been around for a while, the 41st millennium, but we know that they're an ancient foe to the Imperium. Now it's all about the Silent King that is returning. So they're going to get bigger and badder than they were before. So these are the models from the box, all painted up, looking very nice. Do love the glowing blades there, look very nice with an airbrush. Really do pop. And the good old Angels of Death. We know they are the Space Marines. So this is the contents of the box, a bit clearer. I'll be painting mine up, obviously, as Blood Angels. I'm quite excited to see those bikes on the table. I've already converted some Primaris Assault Marines before, painted them up as Death Company. So here are the rules for the Marines in the box. I can't turn the pages, it's still glossy and it smells so good. Those Eradicators are badass, aren't they? So the Eradicators alone have the ability to shoot twice. So, total obliteration in your shoot phase. If you declare that this unit will only shoot a single target, if you do, select one target unit for this unit. Models in this unit can shoot twice in this phase, but they can only target the enemy they're shooting. The same unit. So, in essence, if there's a big bad on the table, rather than the split fire, they put all their shots into one guy. They get to shoot twice, which is wicked. So remember, it's melter. So the melter special rule: when targeting something within half range, roll 2d6 and take the highest. That's pretty damn cool. So imagine these guys, they've only can shoot once each, so 3 guys. If they're shooting the same thing, they can shoot twice, so that's 6 potential shots. If they're within half range, that's a lot of d6, and picking the dice that you want. It's wicked. On range 24, that's pretty tasty. So they can already move 5 inches anyway, so move them up the table. And they're not a heavy weapon, so there's no minuses to this. So, on the other side we have some Necrons. Necrons are hard to get rid of, with living metal and things like that. Those destroyers do look menacing with the great big blades on the end of their arms. Now, I've never seen anything like that before for Necrons, so that's quite interesting. I mean, we've already seen Scarabs and Warriors and things like that. And the Reanimator does look so cool. That's the thing that looks like it's from War of the Worlds. So, nice bit of background fluff. And it shows you some of the rules. So, quickfire rules for those models. In that little bag, I also had the instruction booklet. So how you make your miniatures, base sizes, options. Wonderful. You don't need to see all of that. Here's the book. Here's the Bible itself. So that artwork there is amazing. And inside here, all you have is bases. So no extra dice or anything like that. I do love the artwork on this. It's phenomenal. So there you have the man himself, Abaddon, versus some guy called Gilliman. Nah, never heard of him. And it's quite a weighty tome. Amazing. So this is the new and 9th edition. The new Indomitus book. So the first section is the hobby itself, which is always nice. Nice little background. If you are new into this when you first start up, this is going to look pretty impressive. All your terrain on the table, loads of miniatures going at it. And then you have the Saga Imperialis, which, sorry to apologise, we have the Dark Imperium, which is about the background, one would assume. So we'll go through this. Dark Imperium. Ah, and some pages that fold out. Ooh, a nice map talking about the warp. I will unfold that, because I'll never get it back together. Indomitus. The good old Emperor of Mankind. Tells you all about the man himself, the Emperor. The Emperor on the golden throne. God of Man. Angels of Death, all about Space Marines. Warriors of Faith, so that's the Sisters of Silence. And then we have the Inquisition. The Inquisition. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they just a pain in the butt? The Ordo Hereticus, the Ordo Malinus, the Ordo Xenos. So each one has a different role. As you can imagine, Xenos is all about the alien threat and wiping them out. Perils Unknown. The Enemy Within. So this has got to be all about chaos. Yes, it is. The Dark Gods. The different ages of mankind. So this is what happened before 40k. So Age of Terror, Age of Technology, Age of Strife, Age of Darkness. Nice bit of background. Incredible artwork. Now, the previous editions have shared artwork for the editions before that. So you get like a few pages of different artwork, and then you get a good old classic piece of artwork from a book of years ago. All this so far is completely fresh. I haven't seen any of these repeated before. So, Armies of the Imperium. We all know about Space Marines, the different chapters, as laid out here. So some examples of the different Space Marine chapters. The Death Watch, Grey Knights, the Sisters of Battle. We have a map of the area. The Custodes, so these are the Emperor's Golden Legion. They are the protectors of the Emperor himself. They watch for him on the Golden Throne. The Imperial Guard, some excellent artwork here. I'm loving that guy's just slumped next to a tank. The Mechanicus, so these are the Priests of Mars. They're the ones that build all the vehicles. And if big stompy robots are your thing, we have Imperial Knights. Okay, so we have some assassins, some new things coming to 40k. So we have some heavy weapons here, a piece of terrain there, looks wicked. So I can go literally page by page, but I'll skim some of the book. That's fantastic. I really do like the artwork, not artwork, the models painted from different legions. It's different examples. There's your sisters, some Imperial Guard. Next comes to the best bit of the book, the Lost and the Damned. This is all about the traitor legions, the forces of chaos. When that Space Marine fought Space Marine, brother turned against brother, 10,000 years before this game. Death Guard, Thousand Suns, Chaos Demons, Chaos Knights. So it's the dark reflection of everything you saw previously in the forces of the Imperium. Plagues, rot, death, corpses, forbidden magics. You have to admit, that looks way cooler with spikes. So yes, the Imperial Knights, the ones that went bad. And Xenos, the Xenos threat. So we have the Eldari, which are the pointy-eared space elves. Drakari, which are the evil versions. The dark elves, space elves. Okay, next we have Necrons, which we should start to know about just from the box art alone. The Orcs. So a lot of fantasy genres have orcs. These are orcs in space. So Tau, how can I explain Tau? Tau is, they're in battle suits quite a lot. Walking around, stomping around. And they look quite manga-esque. So then we have Tyranids, you big gribbly space bugs. And then when they infect other species, they have gene stealer coats. So they have no Tyranid DNA in them. So they have some more nicely painted miniatures. We'll skip all of that and we'll get into the rules section. So how to play Warhammer 40,000. So 3 different types of play: open play, match play, and narrative play. So narrative play is all about the fun. Match play is like your tournaments, things like that. So the points are evenly matched. And open play, it's a bit of fun and it's just quick play really. So you're going to play with your buddy and you use power level. Open play is probably for you. Narrative play, really, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you win, lose or draw. It's all about the story. So not necessarily what dies, what goes on, but it's all about the classic, maybe Space Marine versus Chaos, brother turning against brother. Play the stories that you've always wanted to play that shapes the background of this game. Okay. Some basic rules. So knowing about your unit coherency, keywords, measuring distances, which are always measured in inches. Dice, so it tells you all about your D6s and your rerolls and how you can't reroll or reroll. So I like the fact that you have the sections like this that tells you quite in depth, and then you have the bullet points underneath. So if you want a quick rules check, it says underneath, roll dice again. That's what a reroll means. So it's nicely laid out. It tells you all about your data sheets. So what each section means, from your movement to your ballistic skill, weapon skill, and whatnot. So this is the new battle round. So it's changed from before. So rather than starting at number 2, working your way down, you now have 7. So you have the command phase. This is where you score your points or you get your command dice back. So you can use them for your stratagems and things like that. Okay, so movement phase. Your reinforcements. Transports, disembarking and embarking. And what happens when a transport is destroyed. So aircrafts, there's a few little rules changes that change with aircrafts. Psychic powers. Look at those psychic powers. Necrons don't have a lot of that. How about your ranged weapons? How to hit, how to wound. Your charge phases. Consolidations. Now morale has changed quite a bit now. It's quite different. So morale tests, how it works now is it's the number of models destroyed of that unit this turn. And you roll a d6, add those two together. Unmodified rolls of 1 are always an success. So no models flee. That's amazing. So there's always a 1 in 6 chance that your models do not run away. If the morale exceeds the unit's leadership, so the morale is the d6 plus the number of models in that unit destroyed, 1 model flees. Now that's interesting. Before it was just whatever extra, that's how many models flee. But now, after that 1 model flees, you must take combat attrition tests. So a combat attrition test is roll 1d6 for each remaining model in that unit. So I've got a unit of 10, 5 guys go. After you do the previous morale, 1 model leaves. I have 4 models left. Then I roll a dice for each model left in that unit. And on a 1, they flee. But if the unit is half its strength or more, it's a 1 or a 2. So it does keep your units alive a bit longer. If you have a big unit, like if I run 30 bloodletters, at least there's a chance now that they won't all run away, which they did before. But it's still a 1 in 6 chance that nothing happens. So there's always that chance. So we have missions here. What happens in a mission? Mission rules, and this is only war. So this is the one that's been released free recently, free Games Workshop. Just to whet your appetite. How to build armies, power ratings, points values. Battle forged armies. How detachments work. So detachments work completely different. Like before, rather than gaining CPs, you are spending CPs to buy detachments. So here lies the points costs. So a patrol detachment costs you 2 CP. Battalions cost you 3 CP. Whereas before, everybody had 3 CP if you're battle forged. Then if you wanted to buy a battalion, you would gain 5 CP. Now everybody in a 2,000 point game, for example, start to 12, then you spend your 3 CP. Which works very, very differently. Because my Tyranid lists were gaining me about 13 points before. In a 2,000 point game, now I'm probably knocked back down to 6. But remember, you have that command phase. You get 1 point back in every command phase, which is good because normally I burn my CPs up in the first turn, but now they do come back, so it means your late game you can still spend CPs. So for people like me that burn them straight away, they're there at the end of the game, which is wicked. So you've got your command reroll. Now rerolls work differently now. You must roll that test, which means both dice. That's a big deal. If you get a 1 in 6, you don't want to roll 2 dice, you only want to roll the 1, right? It's different now. So, better rules for disembarkation. Now if you want to overwatch, unless you have a specific rule, if you're Tau for example, you have to spend a CP to overwatch, which is a big, big deal. You can't just assume people are going to pink off some shots. But if you do have flamers in your unit, why wouldn't you spend that CP? This is it. Okay, so Insane Bravery now only works once per game. So when you make that morale test, you can only do it once per battle. That's a big, big deal. You can't do it every turn. Okay, so a few different rules there than I had before. So Desperate Breakout. So you can't just fall back with a flying unit and still shoot now. You spend CPs to see if you can shoot after you fall back. Bit nasty, and you can't cast any psychic powers if you fall back normally. Okay, so it has changed quite a bit. Strategic reserves, actions, so from psychic actions, and performing any actions. Terrain features. Terrain now has a different rule set entirely. So from what I understand, big beasts and tanks still can't improve their armor value through buildings, but if it is obscuring, you can have a minus to hit that thing. So it does have very specific rules on terrain. For example, terrain footprints. So if you have a forest which has a base, but all of these rules you have to discuss with your opponent before the game. Because what somebody might call dense cover, other people might just think is obscuring. So it is very specific. So for example, obscuring blocks visibility at least 5 inches tall. Very, very specific. So it's less than 5 inches tall, it's not obscuring. Models on or within can see normally. So if you're in it, fine. But if you're on the other side of it, it just blocks. Aircraft and models with a W characteristic. That's the wounds characteristic for those who don't know. Of 18 or more can see normally. So if you're a big stompy Imperial Knight, or if you're a flyer, you can see normally. Which makes sense, because flyers are often large and move incredibly fast. So you would be able to see around it. Because we like to think that models are fluid all the time. They're not just stationary between each round. Which is quite good. Okay, and certain pieces of terrain are inspiring. So if you had a relic or you have a statue, monument, something like that, for example, could be inspiring. So add 1 to the leadership's characteristics if you're completely within 6, which makes a big difference with morale and things like that. So yes, completely new set of rules for terrain, which I like. It seems quite complicated initially, but it's fairly straightforward. Obscuring, if it's more than 5 inches, that's a big thing. You know, you can tell that's obscuring. You know, if it's smaller and you can see over it. Scalable. See, the things like that, like bikes can't go up buildings, things like that. So most of it is common sense, but you need to clarify common sense things. Okay, so here you go. Gives a pretty good rundown. Anything like that is ruins. So we know that's ruins. It's always been ruins. It doesn't have 4 walls. It's a crumbling wall. It's always been ruins. Craters, pretty straightforward. Armoured containers. They're classed as obstacles, which is understandable. They are solid, aren't they? But they are light cover because they're not completely stopping line of sight. Because they're not that 5 inches that we were talking about earlier on. So barricades are designed to be obstacles. That's their job. They are barricades. So it does say defense line. It is light cover. Well, it's fairly obvious. You know, unless it completely blocks a model. Depends how big the barricade is. But you need to discuss this with your opponent before you play. Most of it's fairly common sense, but it's just nice to have that gaming etiquette. You know, we're not there to... Yes, we all want to win, but we're not there to, you know, annoy somebody. We're there to make friends, have a good time. It's all about the fun experience. So that's just a few examples, which I thought was a big deal. Because I'm tired of my big tanks and everything get a shot for the table, and you're like, well, that's obviously line of sight blocking. It's massive. So now, yeah, -1 to hit vehicles and things like that. So it tells you about open play. So, you know, units have power level as well as points, and you can determine what it's equipped with, and it doesn't change the points value of that particular unit. So now we have our maps. So that's pretty much as before. But yeah, 3 different types of maps there. Now it discusses matched play. So match play is the one you normally use. It's completely even, so both sides have the same number of points. So you can't accuse somebody of cheating. And this is the kind of thing we normally use in tournaments. Tells you about your secondary objectives. So each mission has its own objectives. But if you wanted to play with secondary objectives, which you probably will in most tournaments, and you pick specific secondary objectives that you want to attempt to capture or claim in the game, which is really cool. Okay, and specific missions here. So where you lay your objectives, what maps you use. And there's quite a few there. So there's the Eternal War missions, Strike Forces, the Onslaught. For your bigger games, some more nicely painted miniatures. I do love Genestealer coats, so I'm quite tempted. Obviously I have Tyranids anyway, and that's a nice little link between that and my Imperials, I guess. That sounds very heretical. Okay, Requisitions. Okay, so from reinforcements, things like that. And buying relics. So this is for your crusades. So crusades are campaigns that you can play and you can gain experience and level up characters, units, things like that, which I think is wicked. So it's nice to have at your local club or between a few mates. If you don't want to play any big games, you can play a couple of games that you can level up your characters and they feel more like your characters. They're not just a random model, a random captain, a captain with no name. And it means a lot more when they die though. So here's your sheets you can print off for your crusading forces. Tells you all about your different missions that you can use any of your objectives and things like that for Crusade. Okay, so that's it. So the appendix, some quick-fire rules here. So blast weapons. Blast weapons now are a thing, so which means generally anything with a D6 number of shots or a D3 number of shots, things like that, like flamers for example, now work very, very differently. So it does tell you, see page 219 on how blast weapons work, but I will tell you now, if it's more than 6 models on a D6, you get at least 3 shots. So you might as well roll the dice, you could always get more. If you do roll that 1, you get the 3 shots. Anything more than 10, that weapon now, that D6 weapon, is now straight 6 shots. So there's no point in rolling the dice. Look at the size of that knit. It's huge. Yep, Tau, you got no chance, son. But some lovely, lovely artwork here. See some World Eaters, some Berserkers are going at it with some Eldar, just as they should do. But no, it's a lovely book. It is quite large, but don't be alarmed if you're new into 40k. The rule section is quite small. But yes, loving this box. Fantastic miniatures, which I'm sure I will take some pictures up once I paint, and you'll see them on some battle reports soon. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Obviously, feel free to pause at any time if you want to see any of the pages I was flicking through. I can't spend hours going through it because no one will ever want to watch that video. So, if you can get your hands on a copy, I know they're quite rare at the moment, but it's a fantastic box and the models are wicked. It's great detail in those Marines. And who can forget the Necrons as well? I'm not forgetting the Necrons. I mean, look at them. They are pretty damn cool, aren't they? Alright, thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, please hit that like button, and if you dislike, tell me why. I'd always like to know so we can make improvements. Okay. And remember, subscribe, because if you subscribe and hit that little bell symbol, then you'll be alerted to our next video that comes out for more awesome content. And please, your feedback is more than welcome. Let us know what you want to see on the channel, any mistakes we make, because we're always learning. And if you enjoyed any of our stuff, that's always nice to hear as well. Thank you very much for watching.